Good afternoon, everybody, or good morning. Welcome to today's live stream, which is great for me because it's not going to be me presenting. It's mostly going to be Matthieu from CYME, who I will introduce shortly. So what we're looking at today is an application called Peakto, and also Picto Search, which is a small helper app which you can use to search your capture on catalogs and sessions, but I'll let Matthieu give you the full details. If you've joined us in our live streaming room, of course, you're very welcome to ask questions. And if you want to, if you look over on the right-hand side, you'll see a Q&A tab. And then pop your question in there. That will come straight through to myself. We've also got Helen in the chat, and of course, questions which I will most likely not be able to answer, and the same for Helen. Anything relating to Peakto, then we'll fire off over to Matthieu as well. Those of you joining us on YouTube, of course, you're more than welcome to put comments in as well, and then we will see those in the chat too. So without further ado, I will go and find Matthieu. Hey Matthieu, how you doing?
Hi, I'm good. Thanks for having me today on the show.
You're more than welcome. It's always good to have partners coming on so we can see the world outside Capture One as well. Before we get started and look at the application, so Peakto is a product, or one of your products from CYME. So just tell us a little bit about the company, where you're based, and what you do.
Yeah, so we are CYME, we're a startup based out of France, south of France for most of the people, but we are working collaboratively with our team in various places in France or outside France. So we are a small team. We started a few years ago doing some products to migrate catalogs from, say, one app to another, and we created a version to migrate to Capture One. This product is called Avalanche. It's still available, and but our master plan was to build Peakto, and that's what we're going to show today.
Fantastic. All right. Well, let me bring up your screen, and you can give us the lowdown on on Peakto and what it is and what it does.
Yeah, sure. And I'm happy to be interrupted if there are some burning questions on the chat, and trying to answer them in as the presentation goes.
Yeah, I will definitely keep an eye on them.
Great. So Peakto is a media asset management app for macOS. It's lightweight, designed to be used by photographers or videographers, working either in solo mode or collaboratively as a team. And I'll explain some of these features a little bit later. I will run a short demo highlighting the main features of the app, and then also highlighting how it works with Capture One. So from the beginning, Peakto was designed to integrate seamlessly with the other apps that a photographer or a videographer would use, and ensure that all the media can be accessed in one window. That was the master plan.
Sorry, Matthieu, important to point out that this isn't just a Capture One app. Obviously, you can use it to catalog your archives from, or images, videos from.
Absolutely, I'm going to show that.
Good.
Yeah. So why did we want to do this? Because in everyday's workflow, you probably use several apps, as David mentioned. Maybe your photos are in Capture One, but where are your videos? Maybe they're in folders. Sometimes you might need to or want to use some other apps like Lightroom for some project, or DxO because you need some super denoising or whatever. You might also have multiple catalogs to keep things tidy, maybe organized by period or customer. And if you work with Capture One sessions, they create by construct a fragmentation of your media because they are built to let you work very, very efficiently on one project or one photo shoot. So Peakto was really designed to solve this problem by bringing all your media. So currently we handle photos and videos in one place, in one window, I would say, because we don't make new copies of your media. It's very important. We read the media where it lives. So really at the heart of Peakto is the ability to understand all these cataloging formats, all these apps, and all the inner workings of these apps in order to bring the content. And that's really what sets us apart. So if you look at this window, which you see on screen, this is the main app, and all the content you see, images or videos, they are coming from the sources that I will reveal on the side here, which are either folders, but also Premiere Pro project, Aperture library, good old Aperture. We can read this content. And Final Cut Pro libraries. Here are my Capture One sessions, so I can select any of those sessions and see what's inside. Capture One catalogs, Lightroom Classic catalogs. We also support Lightroom Cloud. We support iView Media, Media Pro, some other apps that are sort of less common. So the idea really is that we don't catalog the files themselves. We can catalog files that are in folders, as you can see at the top here, but we catalog also catalogs. So we can read in those catalogs and see what's inside. So in my demo, I've set it up in a certain way. I have some content that is on that drive, CYME 2 terabyte drive, which is online because it has this green dot. And there is another one which is offline. And that's another feature. I can still browse through content that is offline. So I can search, I can even annotate that content. It's offline, but it doesn't really matter. I can bring just Picto with me on my laptop and do stuff while the content is sitting elsewhere.
So question for you, Matthieu, and I'm sorry if I'm getting ahead of myself, but I'm sure you'll probably demo it as well. So when you add, if you like, an asset to Peakto, like a Capture One session or a Capture One catalog or something like that, does Peakto sort of create its own previews, so then it can be offline? So that's why you can go offline.
Yes. So Picto, when you ingest, we call that process ingestion. So when you ingest anything, it does three things. It reads all the metadata from the images, but also from the catalog itself. So for example, if I look into this catalog, which is an Aperture catalog, which is offline, I can access the images because I have those thumbnails that I've created. I can access the metadata for them. For example, if I, let me just go back to that, click on an image, open the inspector. On the side here, I will see all the metadata of that image.
Okay.
That's this one. Let's go the EXIF. So we read the metadata, we create thumbnails, and then we run a number of tasks to create additional information, mainly AI tasks that are going to be used for search or for various other things. For example, if I click on this image and I go on my AI tab, we create a number of indicators, we extract the color palettes, we do a bunch of things.
Okay. Yes, yeah.
For that catalog, just to show you, if I click here on the structure, I will see all the albums that are living in this catalog. And that's true for Capture One, for all the catalogs that we support. We read the albums, we read all the folder information, we read the keywords, any annotations that have been put in those catalogs we read, and we synchronize with those as they change.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah. So that's the idea. So for example, if I select this Capture One catalog here, I'm going to close that. I'm going to close that, so I can see all these images here that are in that catalog. I can select two catalogs, which is something that already is a cool feature, because you can then see those two catalogs together in the same view and run searches on those. For example, I can filter on 3 stars. Or images above 3 stars for those two catalogs, yeah. Or I can select all my Capture One catalogs, for example. So I can change the scope of what I'm looking at and then run various things, searches, filters, etc. on that. There's another cool feature that we've added specifically for Capture One session users, is the ability to also see the hierarchy in which those sessions are stored. So for example, here, when you look at those sessions, I can select one of them. For example, this is a session that you shared with me. You can see all the sessions in just one long list that is a flat list that doesn't reflect where they're stored on disks. And sometimes you group your sessions in folders and you want maybe to select all the images that are in all the sessions that are in a specific folder. So you can do that now here by browsing through the folder structure here of this drive, for example. So I can see I have all these sessions that you shared with me in this folder, Picto Session, and I can select that. Let me just remove my filter here on 3 stars, and I will see all the sessions that are in that folder on the Finder that contains sessions. And there's another cool feature is I can scan and attach all the new sessions that are under that folder. So for example, if you keep adding new things in a specific folder, new sessions that you create or new catalogs or whatever, you can, rather than add them manually, you can actually ask Picto to just scan and find all the new stuff.
What if I, so let's say in that ecom shoot session, let's say I made some changes to it in Capture One. What do I have to do in Peakto to reflect those changes? Maybe I added some images or made some edits or something like that. Do I have to do like another ingestion or how does that work?
So what we try to do, and it really depends on the type of catalogs we're dealing with, but for Capture One and for most catalogs, we will try to scan for the changes, and when there are changes, we display this little wheel on the side here.
Okay.
So if I look at EcoCom Shoot, Picto tells me that something has changed in that catalog. So if I click on it, it says that one image was modified in the catalog, and one annotation that was made in Picto is not yet been transferred to the EcoCom Shoot catalog, because we can synchronize annotations between the two apps, for example, Capture One and Picto. So here it's telling me that something has to be done, and if I want to do it, I just run a fast sync, and it's going to fix just those two discrepancies, if you want, so to speak.
Got it.
But I can, that was part of my of my demo too. Let's take an example here. I'm going to select this Capture One catalog, and I'm going to edit in Capture One. So for example, I can take an image here, and I hit Command E, and it's going to open Capture One right away, right?
Okay.
The catalog was already open, so it's been very fast, but if the catalog is not open, it's going to open it.
It will open the catalog for you. Okay.
Yeah.
And
so
that
for
was
example,
what, Command E?
Command E, or you can just say open in Capture One.
Capture One.
So
Okay.
it knows which app is the underlying app for that asset, and it will open in Capture One. So if I say open in Capture One, it does it here. So if then let's say I make a change. For example, I'm going to change my crop, and I'm going to move it here, right? And I go back to Picto. I can either, now the catalog is open, so Picto won't scan for changes because it doesn't want to interfere with the catalog being open.
Right,
but
makes sense.
If you know exactly what you've changed, you can just say synchronize one file, and it's going to synchronize, and now you can see the new crop.
Nice. Very nice. And the image in Peakto, in terms of its editing and color adjustments, it reflects Capture One fairly well in that respect.
Yes. So for example, if I go back to Capture One, I'm going to do something different now. Let's say I'm going to create a new variant. I'm going to go into what can I do into styles, and I'm going to apply a built-in style, like for example black and white soft. So now not only do I have I've created a new variant in Picto. So what I would do here is I would probably do a fast sync,
right,
or a deep sync. Maybe I should do a deep sync probably.
And deep sync, that's doing a more thorough.
It's doing a more thorough examination of the thing, and now you can see that it's picked up that image with the change.
Nice, and pretty fast as well.
Yes. So there is one thing that sets you apart as Capture One from other vendors, is that you don't maintain high resolution previews of your images. Because your engine is super fast, so you don't have to do it. So as a result, we don't have access to high resolution images. So for example, if I go into detail view here, and the only version that we can get from you is this rather small preview, and my original is behind, right? So that has long been a caveat for using Capture One and having absolute previews. But now we can fix that. So we can now compute high resolution previews. So just by clicking on the button here, it's going to invoke Capture One, and when it goes back, I now have a real good preview of my content.
Nice.
You
Very
can do
nice.
it. You can do it one by one, or you can do here. You can compute high resolution previews for all images, etc. So you can, and you can also discard them if you want to reclaim space, whatever. So this is one of the things we do. So if I go back to my demo, because we've been sort of digressed a little bit into Capture One, which is good.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. So what I wanted to show you, okay, first of all, we have this grid, and here I'm looking at 27,000, almost 28,000 versions, which are either videos and or images. So here I'm cataloging content that is coming from folders, Premiere Pro, Final Cut. So I have really lots of content, right? So from the bar here, you can do filtering very easily, like you would expect in a digital asset management system. Let's look at my 4-star or above 4 stars images. I can filter further by saying I just want to see things that are edited, not a lot. We have a timeline, which is a very handy tool that will show you how what you're looking at is distributed over time. So what you see here in gray are all my images. And in the blue bars corresponds to what is part of my filter. So here my above 4 stars and edited images, they are all here. And I can further refine here by creating a time window. And I can look at how this content is actually distributed over time, and I can easily find stuff using that type of thing.
Nice. So you can see where you've been at your highest quality output, I guess, in this.
Yes, for example, that's something that we often hear photographers want to do. Like, I would so much like to be able to do a retrospective all of my work, like everything that I've rated above, say, 5 stars, or that have certain characteristics or certain keywords, but I want to do that across all my content, whether it's in files, whether it's in catalogs and multiple catalogs. And that's a headache if you want to go through every catalog to do that. Here you can do it super easily. If you want to do your 10-year retrospective of whatever you've done, and that is worthwhile, you can do that. And it applies for everything, as we're going to show later on. The timeline works on every selection that you make, whether it's a face that you're selecting, whether it's a specific technical characteristic of your content, like the lens you use or the camera you've used, etc. You can use the timeline every time. So
if I wanted to find all Canon R5 images in the past 5 years or something, I could use that as a
you could use that. But so you see the filters that we show here are fairly limited. We have filters on star rating, color labels, flags, and the nature of your files. For example, if I want to see only my videos, or I want to see only a certain type of video or only a certain type of file, you can do that from here. If you want to do more specific things, you have to go through search, which is a good transition to search. So search, what we want to do here is use metadata search to find, for example, let's say I type 100 because I want to find all the content that I've shot with a specific lens, for example. So I'm going to use this Nikon, right? So now I'm seeing only that content shot with that lens, and I can check here that the metadata is effectively referring to that lens. I can see how it's distributed through time. It's probably not very interested here because these are review images from DP Review, and they are probably shot at the same during the same period. But no, you see there are some different ones here. So I can see what's been shot during this period, etc. So you can do that. And then you can add more filters if you want to further select or this kind of stuff. So this is the metadata search we are looking at. We then have content search. So content search is where really it gets really interesting because you can find stuff that you haven't annotated. So for example, if I'm looking for, you send me some good images of black church in Sunset. Remember those?
Right.
So I need to look into, right. So here it finds those images, and the most relevant are often at the top. Sometimes there's some less relevant stuff, and here there's a video. So probably there is something which is a church at sunset. It's not black, but it's on that frame.
But it's church-like, yeah.
Yes.
And
Uh,
so this search, so the content descriptions of the images. So when you ingest a new catalog session, Premiere
yes.
Pro video, so the ingestion process also kind of looks
Compute
at computes the
the
content
data
of the
that
image.
is needed to in order to perform those searches, and
Does
it's really important to repeat that it all happens locally. There
yeah.
is
I would.
nothing sent in the cloud or in
That
any
was my
service.
next question. Do you have to send a preview to a Peakto cloud? It's all local.
No,
Yeah.
there's no such thing as a Picto cloud there. Everything is running locally. So no, it's very important.
Yeah.
Um, so, for example, let's say I'm doing another search. So I'm looking for a Japanese cook. I have some stuff that comes up like sushis and things. Okay. So, but I'm going to filter on videos because I want to see videos. And as you can see here, it finds stuff. It makes some mistakes. This is obviously not a cook, but is working
Yeah.
very
Preparation.
quickly on things. Yeah. So, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
And here there's an interesting one because here there is something about image playgrounds in the new macOS system, and you see that it didn't find a Japanese cook, but it did find a cook on this frame.
Right. As a
And
cat.
probably the eyes could be Japanese or it's a cat, but you can see how the things work. Anyway,
Quick few questions for you because a few have built up. So if you don't mind, we'd take a small Q&A break and then continue on with the demo so they don't
sure.
pile up too much. Just a couple of easy ones. So just to clarify, it's currently Mac OS at the moment, so a Mac
Yeah.
OS application. Do you have
Yes.
any plans to go mobile or PC or anything like that, or sticking with?
So I'm going to show you later in the demo, if time permits, the what we are doing in terms of allowing access to the Picto database from another device.
Oh yeah, okay, yes,
Yes. So it's, and we currently the user experience is more limited than what you see here, but we're
yeah,
gradually introducing building up on that web interface
okay,
in order to access and turn what you see on screen, which is an app running on Mac, will be an app becoming a server running on a Mac, but that can serve different devices, and there could be on a navigator, and maybe at some point we'll develop a mobile app. Why not to get a better experience? But we are currently concentrating on sort of making our web experience on par with the
got it.
desktop experience. Yeah, and Windows is. There won't be a Windows version anytime soon, and we are going to tackle Windows or collaboration in teams where there are Windows users through the web.
Okay, fantastic. There was a couple of questions on Xire, which is an application I'm not super familiar with. One was more a general question: how does it compare with Xire Photo, if you know? And
Yeah, I
can
know, of course.
Peak2 can
Yeah,
Peak2 handle
competitors.
negative images, because this is something Xire failed at as well.
So Exia has a different approach to this. They are mainly focusing on files and folders. I don't like to talk so much about the competitions.
Sure,
They are
same,
nice
yeah.
people, and they do a great job. The it's a very different approach because we are really trying to, as I'm trying to demonstrate, we are really trying to integrate super well with the apps you're using.
Yeah.
And you do your editing in Capture One or in Lightroom or in whatever app you're
Hmm.
using, and we synchronize with the changes you make, and we let you use Picto as a control tower. You can do annotations in Picto. I haven't showed that, but
Hmm.
I can annotate in Picto and have these annotations flow back into Capture One.
Hmm.
I can do my searches in Picto. I can do many things. Exaya has a different approach to that, mainly focused on search.
Hmm. But if you, so the question was, I don't know how it failed as well, but handle images in negative, and that's not something. I mean,
Ah, in
I
negative
hmm,
meaning, it's I don't know if it's speaking about negative
negative
images,
scan, I guess.
negative
Yeah,
scans, or
yeah,
if it's speaking about finding stuff that is not. It should be maybe clarified
yeah,
because that's
yeah. Let us
difficult
know.
finding
That was
things that are not this and that.
James's question.
Yeah. Okay.
Couple of people asked if it can import, or sorry, ingest images from Apple Photos
Yeah.
application. Yeah.
Yes, it does. It does the same for Apple Photos as it does for what I showed you here.
Okay, so it's
So
just treated as another application. Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes, and we do have. It's quite difficult, but we do have a relatively good support of Apple Photos system catalog, which can be synchronized with iCloud.
Yes.
So, because it's important to notice that in order for Picto to work, the content has to be during the ingestion, the content has to be online.
Right.
We can't work on proxies of files that do not exist. So the content has to be online, except for iCloud, because even when you optimize your storage and not everything is on your Mac,
Hmm.
we will download whatever is required to create the previews that we need. So smaller
Okay.
previews, small videos. We do that for videos and images.
Right. Very nice. Okay.
Yeah. So that's
Um,
another use case of having Capture One for your pro life and having
yeah.
photos for your sort of
Yeah. Yeah.
other.
Prosumer life. Yep.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons of Picto is to be able to do that.
Yeah. Excellent. Um, Charles was asking, will it pick up duplicate images? So let's say if you had the same image in a Capture One catalog and a Lightroom catalog, or your photos or something, like in terms of duplicate detection.
Yes, it does. It does, but we want to improve that. So,
Hmm.
do I have a good example? Maybe not. Yes, I have one here. So, for example, here, if I look at this, we have a concept called instant, which is the image that you have. For example, here I have an image that is living in Aperture, and I have two other versions. There's one in Lightroom, and
Oh, okay.
so it
Very
can
nice.
detect even if the image has been cropped and things.
Hmm.
But we want to improve that because we have some false positives, and sometimes you can find images that are
Hmm.
unrelated here. But it was really meant to be working like that. So the idea is you can find things that are
Well,
in different catalogs.
that's still a great start rather than any other option and having to attempt to find it via file names
Yeah,
or whatever.
but
So yeah.
we will, regarding duplicates, we will introduce in the coming months a real duplicate finder function, which does not exist currently, in order to find and delete duplicate uh, content, because we have a trash. I won't go into that too much, but we have a trash and we can support trashing things. So
Okay.
depending on what you are dealing with, if it's a file, it's easy. If it's a catalog and you trash something from a catalog, we won't. And this is a red line we never cross. We never write anything in a catalog. We've
Yes.
always used standard things like XMP, synchronization, and stuff.
Yeah.
So whenever we want to remove something from Capture One, for example, we will actually use keywords or different techniques, or we can use Apple Script to move it to the trash in Capture One. Or
Okay.
for Apple Photos, we will move it to the trash in Apple Photos, but we won't modify Apple
You
Photos.
won't modify the database itself or
Never.
anything. No.
We
Okay.
never
That's
write
pretty good.
anything.
So
Yeah.
it's very safe in that respect. Yeah.
Yes. One thing that we do put some focus on as well is the videos. Maybe it's less relevant for Capture One users, but we do have a very strong support on videos, and we are increasing that support. So, for example, when it comes to search, we do the transcript of videos automatically. So we transcript the audio.
Okay.
So if I'm looking for example, Skywalker in the transcript, it finds this video here. I can double click on it and I can see the audio transcript, and it's going to jump directly to the various occurrences of that.
At Skywalker Ranch before there was
Nice.
Correct.
Sounds in our Skywalker sound effects library.
Right. So we do things with videos. That's also very strong, and we let you also do certain things, like, for example, creating subclips for a video. So you can create sequences of your video, setting in and out points, and then use those in order to build what we call a bin, where you can put all the little videos or images. So, for example, I'm going to show you one. Here, I've created, it's like an album, if you want, except that things are put in a certain order. And here I have a video, here I have an image, here I have just a portion of a video, which is a subclip, and this can be exported to editing apps such as Final Cut Pro, Adobe Premiere, DaVinci Resolve. So we want to use Peakto to access the media, whether it's images or videos, and then being able to do things really quickly inside the app and then export it to editing apps, for example. Okay.
Oh, that's very nice.
So I spoke very quickly about annotations. If I go back just quickly about that, you can, for example, let's take this image. Let's open the inspector. You can annotate from inside Peakto. So, for example, here I can set my star rating. I can set that, or I can do it from the image itself here using the little pop-up.
And will this also change in Capture One? Or
yes, it will.
Yes.
Yes. So if I change the rating of that image to 5 stars, for example, or let's take this one and let's give it 5 stars. If I go back to Capture One, let's open it in the Capture One. It should have 5 stars now in Capture One.
Very nice.
You can set titles. You can do that, and you again, I say, when you can do it even if the catalog is not online. So with a catalog that's not online, it's going then to tell you that you have some changes that you have to push to Capture One. It's going to remember which are the changes that need to be pushed whenever the catalog comes back online.
Got it.
And those changes are pushed through XMP, so we write the metadata in the XMP.
Okay.
You can add keywords. So I can type a keyword here. For example, if I want to put man and bike, I can do that. It becomes a keyword, but I can also use the suggestion keywords that are suggested by AI. So I can use bicycle as a umbrella.
Okay. So that's again in the ingestion process that AI
absolutely
figures out
we
the
do
image
a bunch
content.
of things to do that. Let's talk quickly about the other views that we have. We've been in the grid most of the time here. There are some other views. So one of them, which you don't have in Capture One, is the map. So here I'm looking at the Capture One catalog, and I can see those items on the map, right? I can annotate images that have no GPS information by simply going into here and assigning a location. For example, this image has no location. I can assign a location and say, okay, this is happening in Tokyo, for example.
Okay.
And I can then put, let's say it's in Shibuya, for example, I can put that here. And now this image is annotated.
Great.
All right. And
the question on the So the content search. This was I just saw it pop up, a question from
Yeah.
Brad.
Yeah.
The content search. So is that based on, or is any of it based on any pre-existing keywords, or it's all
No.
the
No.
AI scan, if you like, on the ingest? Yeah.
Yeah. No. It's not based on any keywords. If you want to search using keywords, you can do that using the metadata search here. So you can search based on keywords. But when you do content search, it's based on the on whatever AI has brought up for the images that we've ingested.
Right, got it.
Okay.
So it seems you pull in an extraordinary amount of data during ingest. You think for every image it has to look
Yeah.
at all the metadata and
Yes.
the AI like it. So I know it's difficult to say
How long
how
it
long
takes?
it takes. Yeah, because that's always a fluid thing. But like, is there any sort of rough
Benchmark.
idea you can give?
Yeah, I can give you a rough idea. So it largely depends on many factors. Like, for example, let's say we talk about 10,000 files,
Sure.
10,000 images. Are they already ingested in a catalog like Capture One? Because this would save us a lot of time computing previews because some of them already exist, etc. If they are really, if we have to go to the raw files because you're ingesting 10,000 raw files in a folder, it's going to take longer.
Yeah.
So the benchmark I can share is roughly, I mean, on my previous machine, which was an M1 Pro, ingesting 10,000 files, a mixture of RAW and JPEG, half and half from various cameras. These were DP review files. Takes about it's a little bit less than 10 minutes to ingest and be able to work with it, and then it's a bit more or less 10 other minutes to compute faces recognition, because we do that as well, and to do all the other AI that we need. So I would say definitely less than 20 minutes, maybe 15 minutes for 10K.
Okay, that's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, and this is one of those tasks, I guess. If you have a lot of different assets to ingest, you can just ingest, walk away, and leave it for let it run. Yeah.
And there are some, not going too much into detail, but you can also set up Picto to synchronize, to look at your changes every hour or every 5 hours, etc.
Right.
You can also set the performance mode. How much do we mobilize the CPU and GPU when we do ingestion? Here I'm using standard mode, but suppose you want to be really, really fast, you could go into turbo mode, and then you won't be able to do anything with your machine, but it's going to be super fast.
So there's facial recognition as well.
Yes,
in that respect.
I can show you, for example, facial recognition. Let's go into this here. I'm going to go into faces. So here, what it's done, it's recognized the faces from from that catalog, and then there are some faces that are named, and then there are some unnamed faces. So, for example, here, these 14 photos are from John as well. So I'm going to use John here, and it's going to merge them into this thing here. So as new content comes in and is ingested, you might see some cluster happening with people, and essentially what's going to happen probably is that whenever you click here, it's going to propose the right person right away, because it knows, but it doesn't annotate automatically the new ones, right?
Right.
And then you can go in all the images and annotate it by hand, but you don't have to do that. You can edit your clusters. For example, here, if I want to see all the images of John, and if there are any errors, I can remove it, select, assign to another person. I can also view a photo for that person. And then very cool, you can make selections. So for example, if I want to see all of those 98 photos of John in the grid, I'm going to see them here. And now suppose I want to find photos where I also have Maya. So I can look for Maya. And then it's going to let me see the photos where Maya and John are on the same image, or I can also use another rule which says either one of them.
Yeah.
And it works for keywords as well. You can pick keyword and then find images that have both keywords or either one of them, etc.
And then I could open that image in its respective editing application if I then wanted to. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So
would it tell me where the particular John is, for example? Like if it would show me, okay, this is in your Capture One session, whatever, like the source of that particular image.
So yes, here you can navigate to the folder, but if you have a specific image here, I just say open in Capture One. I know it's a Capture One image because it has. So if I say open with Capture One, okay, that's actually a catalog that I had never opened since you made the update. And here it is. Now I have the catalog opened.
Nice.
So if I go back and I say this one, you're going to see how fast it goes.
Yeah. Well, that was still pretty quick because the slowdown part was upgrading the catalog. So yeah, that's great.
Okay, so
very nice. Because like me, I'm a very lazy keyworder, as in I haven't keyworded anything or I started at some point and then didn't stop. So this is definitely a great avenue for the lazy keyworders amongst us who didn't get round to doing all that stuff and putting people's names in. And now it's way faster than I could ever be as an example. So.
And so you can preview also some of the. Here I don't have a lot of faces that I have named, but you can select things by opening this little, like you would open the keywords. You can see all the keywords that are in all your sources, or all the faces that are all your sources, and you can do the selection here. Okay. There is another view, and then I'm going to move to sharing, which is called Panorama. And this view is, I'm going to close that. This view is an AI-driven view that we created. Let me just select this one here. So here I'm looking at all my sources. It tells me that the AI analysis is not finished for all of them, but I don't really care. See, the idea here was to be able to quickly see what I have either in all my catalog or in a specific source, for example. And so Picto does some categorization of your images based on about 20 classes of images. So you will find your events and weddings, fashion, food and drinks, nature, etc., people. You can also look at specific styles, for example, abstract or things that are taken from above, or close-ups, or night photographies. We have things about color harmony that's based on the color palette that is used. So for some people, it might be interesting to look at that.
Very much so. Yeah, very much. Yeah.
And so if I go back to for example, my Picto sessions here, I'm going to see some characteristics here. The people, mostly people are alone in those sessions because these were photo shoots. Categories, I have a little bit of architecture, some fashion, mostly portraits.
Yeah.
Some sport here, right? And street. But you get the idea. So you can find stuff, and maybe it's another way to look at things. So that's cool.
Yeah, fast way to think. Yeah, let's check out all my nature pictures that I've got, from this particular collection or all sources or whatever. It's nice.
Okay. So the next thing I'd like to show is the ability for Picto to share. So we wanted to turn this app into a server so that we could access our content remotely. So we have a share menu here that lets you decide whether you want to share locally, like on your local network at home or in the office, or whether you want to share using internet. so what happens is when you activate that share here, it's running locally. It will actually turn my big catalog into a server, and whoever connects to that will actually talk directly to my machine. So my machine needs to be running. There's no cloud involved. I haven't ingested nothing. It's just for me to be able to access my content while I'm on the go. So here I'm going to open in a web browser. And actually, let me close that here. It's the same one I had opened before. So here you can see the same sources that I have here, my Finder. I can make selections here, and it's going to restrict on that specific source. Here I'm looking at Blackmagic raw footage here, so you can see I can hover over the images and find stuff. My Aperture library that I showed you before. And if I go to my Capture One sessions or Capture One catalog, which one? It's the Iceland final, for example. So here I have my Iceland final. I can control the aspect ratio, and I can also control what I want to display. For example, I'm interested in the user annotation, the file name, and the file name, I want to put it at the top, right? So now I have a view, and this works either, here I'm running on the same machine, so it's not super impressive, sorry, but if you're running it from another machine.
But this is local network only, correct? So not to the
but
web.
You can I've set it up like that, but I could have chosen, but I didn't want to add more uncertainty in the demo. So
sure.
It works because you have to open a port in order for it to work, etc. But anyway, so I can do things here. I can annotate. It's very limited for now, and I can also view the image. I can download it. So I can download the original photo. In that case, it would download this ARW file that you shared. So I can from a remote location access the thing, and I can let's go back to all sources. I can run the same type of search as I was running before. So for example, if I look for the Japanese cook,
and again, it's using your computer as the server, if you like. No cloud is involved or upload process or anything.
It's using my computer. So of course it's very impressive when you are on the go and you do these things from your iPhone, because it will run on an iPhone or any mobile phone. Let's say I'm going to filter like I did before just on the videos. So it's returning the same results here. I can browse through the video. I can play some videos.
Nice.
And if I need that, I can download the original. So if I click on download, you can see it will download the original image.
Fantastic.
So
it can be local, can also be across the internet as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So, like for example, in the session that you shared with the ecom, so these are all EIP files that we support natively. So I can download my EIP remotely and access it. So that's really designed to be able to access your content while you are on the go. And it's solo sharing. You can see all your content.
Yeah.
With the Picto Pro version that we're introducing, as a matter of fact, tomorrow, you can do more selective things. You can say, for example, this EcoCom shoot, I want to share it with a team.
Okay.
And I'm going to create a new share with this source, and I'm going to add emails of the people I want to share it with.
Okay.
And I will be able to tell what privileges they have. Okay. So I have set up a number of shares already. So if I look at, for example, the Venice share, this share has been shared with
Big Boss
and apatitmat.me.com. Okay. And I've set privileges to be able to download and to annotate and do so and create albums, for example. Okay. And there is another share, I think it's this one, where Aquatic Mat has no privileges at all. It cannot download, it cannot annotate, can
So
do
he
nothing.
can just look at them. Yeah.
Yeah. So if I open another window here that I've prepared, in which I'm logged in as this person that is the recipient of the share. Instead of seeing everything as in my standard sharing, he will only see those sources he's entitled to.
Okay. Yeah.
For example, if I look into dog, he can annotate. No, he cannot annotate. You can see there is a thing here. And if he opens any image and tries, he cannot download the original.
Okay.
But if he goes to Venice, for example, and opens this image, he will be able to download the original, and he will be able to annotate.
Got it.
And of course, the search that he runs here will only return, although the search is running on the Picto database that is served by the server, will only show the content he's entitled to see.
So when you're sharing images from Peakto like this, does your Peakto machine have to be running and open, so it's using Peakto as the server again, no cloud involved?
Yes. So it's really a model in which you designate a machine to be a media asset management server. It could be a Mac Mini, it could be a small machine, not necessarily your own machine, but it could be your own machine if you, for example, more in the context of an agency or where you're working with people that are in the same office. Of course, if you want to share and have that share always available, you need that machine to be running.
Yes. Yeah. No, makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. I think I'm pretty much done in terms of. I had a section about Capture One specifics, but I think we've covered it, showing how the crops are displayed here.
That's really nice. Oh, we did have a question earlier about Picto Search as well,
and
how that relates to Capture One. So maybe we could take a look at that.
I can show that really quickly. So Picto Search is a different app, and I'm going to. It's running off the menu bar.
Okay.
So it's always present, and it has a kind of different interface. But basically here, you can either buy the Lightroom or the Capture One version flavor of it. It depends on the serial number that you enter. Here I have I have bought two. Actually, I didn't buy them, but I have two of them. So I can have Lightroom and Capture One in it. So here I'm just cataloging stuff, right? I drag and drop.
Indexing various catalogs and libraries and so
it
on.
Does less than it does a bit less than Picto in terms of what it computes. It just focused on search. So, for example, it doesn't do the people, the faces, etc. As a result, the almost 300,000 images that I have indexed, I think they took about 2 hours to index.
Okay.
Videos can take a while to index because, as you saw in the search, we scan through most of the frames of the video. So every 10 frame or 20 frames of the video counts as an image. So there's a lot of AI running on videos. But here it took about less than 3 hours to index that.
Okay.
And then I can run the search. So I've added the same Capture One sessions that you sent me. So if we run, for example, a search like the sorry, I'm going to do my spelling right. Black church sunset. So here, what's going to happen? I have a catalog which contains almost 200,000 images, and it's going to show those results in that catalog first, and then it's the catalog that you sent me that is showing up here, and I can see the results. Again, I can configure what is shown, and just to show the interaction, you simply click on an image and it opens it in Capture One.
Okay,
so
great.
It's really fast.
Yeah, nice.
We also have the timeline. So if you run searches, you can also filter based on time.
1879. Great.
Yeah, there are some
Metadata issue in the camera there.
no, I think there are some videos that have a wrong date.
Mhm.
I didn't really work on that, but you can filter based on those dates.
Mhm.
And you can also do something that you can do in Picto. But for example, if I'm here and I want to find all the similar images, it's a slightly different type of search,
Mhm.
and it's going to show me the
Yeah,
similar. So I might see some
similar
duplicates
content.
here. Yeah. So that's if I want to run another search. So for example, I want to see some drone views of a black beach.
Mhm.
Do I? Yeah, here I have. So here, for example, I'm interested in this image. I'm going to find similar images of this one. It's going to take a little while, and then it finds all those images that are similar. So in some catalogs, the most similar is this one. But in this catalog that you sent me, you can see you find almost the similar context here.
Mhm.
And what I can do is I can, for example, select those images, and from here I can create a collection in Capture One.
Oh, nice.
And now I have a collection in Capture One that contains those images.
Yeah.
It picks it grabs all the variants as well.
Okay, of that particular
Yeah,
raw file. Yeah.
yeah. But so you can do some other things in this app, but
Mhm.
essentially it's really focused on search.
No, that's great, especially like me who has a billion sessions and catalogs. It's really nice just to be able to quickly open that and find stuff without having to trawl through everything. Yeah.
So
Fantastic. Yeah, we had
yeah,
some
the
questions on
version I
the
watched.
products. Yeah, go
Yeah, the
for it.
version I was demonstrating is going to come out tomorrow. It's
Okay.
version 2.4. That all the things I showed you about volume navigation, subclip markers, sharing with collaborators, and more stuff that we have. We have more Capture One friendly features
Mhm.
like EIP support, the crop, etc. And so available tomorrow, and you have a 25% discount with the coupon Capture One Live if you're
Very
interested.
nice. A question on that discount, is that in addition? So there seems there's some discounts already. For example, you get 20% off an annual discount or 40% off a 2-year plan.
Yeah,
So
it's on
is
top of it.
this is on top of that? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. So before we run out of time, I'm just going to ask you a really simple question that came up, which was, can you reveal an image in the Finder? So if you found a particular image, can you just
Of
say
course.
show in Finder? I think it was there pretty much.
Yes. So you can show in Finder. There are lots of functions. I'm sorry I couldn't go through all of them, but
Yeah.
creating albums. Um, we also have a concept of workspace, which is a fairly advanced concept where you can
Mhm.
edit things in another app from the app that you're in. You can copy is a new feature as well. I can copy the file name, the master file, the parent folder
Mhm.
path, the metadata, the thumbnail, the high resolution thumbnail, and the image metadata. So I can copy those things here, and then if I want to paste it to a mail or whatever.
Great.
So yeah, that's feature. We didn't speak about albums and smart albums, which are fairly common in most
So you
apps. So
can create an album that will populate based on certain
yes, one of
criteria across all
the
the sources. Yeah.
yes, one of the features of the smart albums is you can also match a
AI,
prompt.
a
Yeah, so
prompt.
if
Yeah.
I want to find all my waterfalls, I don't have to annotate with waterfall keyword. I can just say a picture of a waterfall in English, and I can say what's the sort of tolerance I want to use, and you can see all the waterfalls are coming up here,
Mhm.
including waterfalls that are in videos.
Fantastic. Yeah, very nice.
So you can have smart albums being populated by AI as well.
And on that question, just to clarify once more, so Peakto doesn't retain any, well, yes, it retains data in the application itself because it needs to ingest and index the sources. But again, nothing is being uploaded to
No,
Peakto servers, so it's all
no,
local. So if you delete Peakto and any associated files, then the data is gone essentially.
yeah, absolutely, yeah,
Yeah, super nice.
absolutely.
Hmm.
There are a few recommendations in order to use the app. We recommend that you put the Picto catalog, which is where we put the database, all the thumbnails
Yes,
and all the stuff that we generate, the AI results and all the metadata, that you put it on a fast disk.
yes.
It can be an external drive. Here I'm running on an external drive, for example. I
Okay,
have a small 2 terabyte drive, and Picto is taking maybe 20 gigabytes on that thing. Then I can use that drive and plug it on another computer and launch it from there. So you have the mobility as well to be able to go from one computer to the other
got it.
using the same database, for example. But it has to be an SSD, otherwise you will feel the
Yeah, it'll be too slow. Yeah, that
yeah,
makes
the app
sense.
is really fast, and you see how it's fast and responding fast when you do searches.
Yeah.
It would be very different on a slower drive.
Can you, there was a question which came up from a couple of people. Can you uh, ingest from a network attached storage, so from NAS drives?
Yes, you
Yeah.
can, but of course you need to have it. I mean, everything is going to be um, about the throughput that you will have and the speed
Yes.
of the connection, because we cannot ask the NAS to create the previews for us. We actually have to download the files in order to locally in order to create the previews once at least, and then so yeah, it works. And but in the future we might expand on that, having
Hmm.
some agents that run on the NAS in order to avoid downloading stuff.
Right, to speed it up.
Very
Yeah.
yeah.
Fantastic. I think, well, we're kind of, there's a few other questions as well. So if people want to get in touch with CYME, you guys, to ask questions or talk about the product, what's the best way that they can do that as well? Or for
Well,
support articles, these kinds of things.
yeah, we have a support area where you can access our desk, and
Hmm.
you can ask questions, create a ticket on our system, and it's
Okay.
the fastest way to get answers, because we look at it every day and we try to respond within a few hours.
Okay, great.
To the tickets. So there's a caveat: you have to create your account on Chrome, I think, because it doesn't like Safari for some reason. But after you can
That's
access it
common.
on Safari, but well,
Got
it's
it.
just a cookie thing or something. But yeah, it's the easiest way to get in touch with us, and we really try to respond. And I should stress that we are a small team, so
Hmm.
we do what we can to respond quickly. But we are also very focused on, we are customer
Hmm.
focused, and we are a company that's product focused. So a number of things that you see here are actually the result of our interaction with customers asking us to do this and that in a certain way, or to add features. We know that a bunch of things are still missing, and we're working on that, but it's really an interaction with the customers that we like. And
Well,
so
I haven't
you
seen
can check
really
the product.
anything else like it on the market that can interact with so many different applications with the speed that it's doing it as well, and all those additional ways to search and catalog, and it's yeah, it's really quite something. Yeah. Last two
Thank you.
questions, and then we really must go. Um, does it support hierarchical keywords in
No,
Picto?
it does not currently.
Okay.
No, you cannot create hierarchies.
So if it's hierarchical keywords, it will display them as a flat list, I assume, if they already exist in Lightroom or Capture One or something like that.
Well, if they exist in Lightroom, I think we display the hierarchies, but we don't allow you to create hierarchies if you annotate in Picto.
In Peakto. Got it.
Yes, if I go here and I want to add a keyword, it's not going to let me create a hierarchy.
Got it. There was a question, can you limit keywords to those already in use by an exterior app? So I guess lock the ability for Peakto to not add keywords, but I guess you have to, you have to make the choice to make keywords, right? There's no automatic keyword creation.
You see, when you start typing, it will autocomplete with the keywords it already knows about. So you can pick a keyword here and
but
use
there's
that
no
one.
auto keyword creation without you authorizing it as such.
No, it does not. It does things like, for example, if I go to the keywords tab, and I go to, say, all masters, let me just find that. Okay. If I go to the keywords tabs here, it will find all the, it will show all the keywords that AI is suggesting.
Okay.
They are not assigned to the images; they are just guessed. So there will be some errors. For example, if I go into starfish, well, this one is okay. But I'm sure if I dig well enough, I'm going to find errors. So if I click on kite, for example, well, these are not kites. You see, these are not kites.
Why
They
it thinks
look
it
like
is.
because the so this is where it's actually this is the limit, right?
Yeah, got it. No, that makes perfect sense.
We
Excellent.
will probably expand on the keywording. We have some other techniques that we want to explore, but currently, this is what we have.
No, it's fantastic. Do you want to put up the discount code again, just one more time? And
yeah, sure.
then
It's actually somewhere here. Yeah.
there it is. Yeah. So 2.4 available to download tomorrow, and then Capture One Live for the discount code. Easy to remember. So fantastic. And that relates to Peakto and Peakto Pro. And then Picto Search, the little menu bar one, that's a separate application, right?
Yeah, it's a separate application, and you can try them out on our website. We have 7 days trial. You have to start a subscription, or if you want to get the one off, we have different licensing scheme with subscriptions and perpetual license that give you 1 year of free upgrades, and then you can use the app forever.
Okay.
With the standard limitation of what forever means. I mean, based on OS evolving and all that. But yes, so you can try the one-off version in a different way. You don't have to buy the. If you want to ask us for a trial license for the one-off version, we can give you a bit more than 7 days. But otherwise, the standard way is to use the subscription, and then you get 7 days of free trial. I should stress that the subscription, in my opinion, is the best model. I mean, I know some people don't like it. Because of the number of changes we make, and if you look at what's been done in 2 years, I mean, you've been following us for a bit longer than it's quite massive.
Well, compared to what I saw back in February when I saw you in the US, you've added a lot in that short space of time. So
so I think it's really the best model to be always up to date with all the changes that we make. And okay,
perfect, great.
Thank
you, Matthieu. Yeah, it's great. And as I said, I'm sure people will want to know other stuff as well, but we've put the contact details on the chat as well, and I will also put it on YouTube as well, because I don't want to forget about those guys, and where they can find also where to buy as well. But yeah, thanks very much for joining us. Really enlightening. I'm certainly going to be using it. So yeah, thanks again, and we shall see you guys soon, no doubt. So thanks again, and take care, everyone.
Thank you.
See you soon. Thanks, Matthieu.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.